Everybody sign the sign-in roster. Got it, pass it around. If your name's not on it, just write it on the bottom, I'll add it in later. So, the exciting topic of accident incident reporting and forms. I'll be honest, in my 30-year Army career, haven't had a lot of accidents and haven't had to deal with a lot of accidents. So, I think part of that is from really good safety programs, and part of it is probably, just luck. But, luck is the residue of design. So, next slide. So here's what we'll cover. Purpose of an accident investigation, the definition of an Army accident, the classifications of accidents, and then the following forms, the abbreviated ground accident report, the AGAR, and the DA 4755. Next. So why do we investigate and report accidents? Speaks for itself. Next. So we want to identify, we don't do it necessarily to punish people or hurt people, we do it to identify why an accident happens so we can prevent it from happening in the future. Next. Just what I said, for prevention purposes only. All right. So the purposes of investigation and reporting identify the factors and where we have a breakdown in our system, assess manpower and monetary losses so they can spool up those big spreadsheets that tell you us being unsafe costs us this much and hurts this many people. To collect accident data so we can develop those prevention measures. And like I said, this is for prevention only. It's not used for litigation or claims or adverse administrative actions. Next. I don't like the way this slide does this. So here's the definition of an Army accident. It's an unplanned event, obviously, and or a series of events that result in one or more of the following: an occupational illness to Army, military, or civilian personnel, injury to Army or civilian to on-duty military personnel, injury to on-duty and off-duty or non-duty National Guard personnel, contractors, or civilian employees, any damage to Army property, and damage to public or private property, and or injury or illness to non-Army personnel caused by us. Next. All right, this is what commanders will investigate. Any damage to Army property, just like we said, any injury, fatal or non-fatal to any of us people in the green suit, injury to any on-duty civilian personnel, occupational injury or illness, injury or illness to non-Army personnel because of what we did, and damage to non-Army property as a direct result of Army operations. So if you drive MTV into somebody's yard and run over their mailbox, that's on us. Next.
So those are all 15-6 investigations?
Not all. I don't think it all rolls up to a 15-6 investigation, but it starts the reporting process basically. So here's what's not. Does that answer your question? Or?
Sure.
Okay. Here's what's not an Army accident. Any combat losses, that's not an accident. If failure or malfunction of parts of a vehicle or anything, that's just fair wear and tear. Basically kind of what your insurance wouldn't cover. Expected damage, so if you're testing something, stress testing, trying to blow something up, do that, that's not an accident. And property damage as a result of vandalism, riot, or civil disorder. I think we've had some vandalism situations in the cities, that's not an accident. So, next. Oh, and deliberate damage to aircraft, equipment, or to occupants. All right. There's a lot of things that are not an Army accident. So accidents occurring during transport by commercial carriers, so that'd be, not only just personnel with, buses, but, or not only your stuff on a bus or on a plane, but also, when we're transporting, commercially by truckload or whatever. Non-occupational injuries or illness, so, if it's not a proximate cause to something that the Army's doing. Self-inflicted injuries are not an accident, so suicide, or if you try to commit suicide or try to hurt yourself, that's not. Criminal assault, so if your soldiers go into town and go over to the hangar and get in a fist fight or a brawl, it's not an accident, it's on purpose. Pre-service injuries, obviously. Infective or parasitic disease, so if you have a respiratory disease or you get food poisoning, that's not an accident. And then strains that are from like a pre-existing muscular skeletal disorder. So if you sneeze and have a hernia, that's not an accident. Next. If you're hospitalized, just to be observed, not an accident. If you are arrested and you escape from custody and you're injured, you fall down a hill or something, that's not an accident. If you have a heart attack, death due to a natural cause, that's not an accident. Same with reaction to a drug or alcohol, not an accident or anything pre-existing. Next. So what do you do if you witness an accident or an incident? It's pretty common sense, but you want to take care of people first, so make sure that you do first aid, life-saving procedures, that sort of thing. If it's a fire, fight the fire. If it's a scenario where you have a fire extinguisher or whatever, call 911. I don't think we have to really worry about flight operations with our unit here, but be prepared to provide witness statements. And if you can, don't disturb the accident site. So, obviously if there's an accident in the middle of the road and you got to move a vehicle off the road, that's got to happen. But if somebody goes in the ditch, you don't have to move that vehicle, and don't disturb it until an investigation can begin. Next. So on scene, if there's an accident, this says fire captain. It'd just be whoever the incident commander is. So when it's deemed safe, the scene's deemed safe, it's turned over to the safety officer or safety NCO for investigation. And the scale of the investigation will determine how quickly whatever equipment is in that accident. I guess I would probably envision, like a vehicle accident, whenever that's released back to the unit for maintenance. So, next. So operations will notify the chain of command and the staff, and then the pre-accident plan will identify the people that should be contacted and specifies the duty that each of them may be called upon to perform. So we're rewriting our pre-accident plan as we speak. Next. So the classification of the accidents, that determines who gets notified, what security should be provided at the site for the investigation, the procedures, and who's responsible for what, and then the required reports. So here's the classifications. We probably live more in the realm of D, E, and R. I don't think we'll see a lot of $2 million accidents. Potentially, you could see a fatality, so that could be or a permanent total disability. That'd be a Class A. Class B is permanent or partial disability. That's in the 500,000 to 2 million range. Or 3 or more people are hospitalized. 50 to 500,000. That's next day and lost time from work. So if you get hurt, you can't go to work the next day. that's in that Class C range. Or lost time from work or disability at any time. D, medical attention above first aid. So if you have to take somebody to the TMC or in the town to the hospital, that's a Class D. And then Class E, 5,000 to 20,000. It doesn't meet any of the criteria. And then this is ours, just for the Army National Guard. So any non-duty loss or accident, near misses, if you're on state active duty, that's only National Guard. All right. So we kind of went through this. Hopefully we never have any Class A accidents. You can flip to the next one. Class B, again, kind of a reiteration of what we just talked about. Next. You can skip through to Class D. All right, so Class D, again, I think the last three classes are where we mostly will reside. So, like if you back a 5-ton, or this is 5-ton, but an MTV backed into a civilian auto, that results in $20,000 of damage to the POV. Because of what we did, that's a Class D. Or if a soldier hurts himself while doing PT and gets painkillers from the doctor, Class D, right? So next. Class C, that's kind of the catch-all. So anything that doesn't have the severity to meet all the other ones, it's only reportable when the mission is interrupted or not completed. Next. Class R, this is the National Guard one. So this is a pretty decent thing because it catches a lot of the near misses for us. Class R, it's non-duty loss or accident, or like I said, any near misses. If you're on state active duty, that's Class R. Like I said, it's unique to the Army National Guard, and it helps us like to see trends in near misses and accidents. Next. So here's some examples of reportable accidents: sprain or injury through physical activity, which results in restricted duty or time away from work. That's kind of the key in that. If you knock over a fence post while driving a military vehicle, report. Any damage due to our equipment not caused by combat action. So there's an actual chart that'll help you decide. So when we go to the next page. This is it an Army accident chart, and I believe there's some on the safety board here. So are there injuries? You can just follow the trend line all down. So if there's an injury, yes. Is an injury to an active personnel? Yes. You can follow the lines. Next. This is the key. Immediately report all accidents or injuries to the safety officer or the safety NCOs, no matter how minor, and then we'll work through it and help you navigate through the rest. Next. So here's the forms. Like I said, these are on the safety board. The abbreviated ground accident report, the AGAR, and then the employee report on alleged unsafe or unhealthful work conditions. We don't have any flight forms in there. So next. So here's the abbreviated ground accident report. This is used for all off-duty, on-duty, CD, AB, on-duty accidents. So just grab the form if you see an accident, begin filling it out with what you know, and then we can finish the form in the safety office. Next. And then the employee report of alleged unsafe or unhealthful working conditions. So this is to report anything you see that's unsafe, not flight related. as with anything in the Army, rather than filling out a form, it'd probably be best to correct it at the lowest level possible. But if you can't, then this is the form for you. So, anyone can submit that, any rank, civilian or military. You can do it anonymously, but you won't get a response if you do it anonymously. It's not required when an accident or deficiency report is already. All right. So to submit that form, there's blank ones on the safety bulletin board. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just complete the entire form, provide your name if you want a response, and then submit it to the safety officer or safety incident. Like I said, lowest level possible to resolve it, or if we need to do further action or we see a trend, then we'll forward it up to the chief. Next. So I'll return a response in writing within 10 days of receiving it. If it's in between drills, I might not give you a complete response, but I'll at least give you an interim response. If it's determined that a hazard exists, that'll include a summary of actions to correct that, and when that will be corrected. So the originator can pursue an appeal if not satisfied with the response. So if you see, something that sticks out and everybody hits their head on it all the time, and you submit a 4755, and the response is to put something, put a little rubber nerve cushion on it or something, and you don't feel that's good enough, then you can file an appeal. Next. So probably everybody's favorite slide, the summary slide. Like I said, report all accidents and incidents. We'll improve the form whenever you submit, and then we'll finish up with what you guys don't. If you report accidents and incidents, if we're all good about doing that, then we can see trends, and we can adjust our safety program as necessary. So if you need any further information, there's this the safety.army.mil site, or just go to the safety office, which is the S4 office. Next. Accident prevention is better than accident reaction. So properly reporting accidents helps us to find those trends and to prevent future injuries, loss of life, or property. Next. That's it. So whoever's on the safety council, if you guys can hang tight,